With the rise of generative AI, we are now interacting with AI agents such as ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude much more frequently in our daily lives than we used to. These tools are used for many different purposes, including writing code, creating content and literature, research, automation, design, and data analysis. However, there is an important challenge. AI models are very sensitive to how instructions are written. A prompt is simply the input or instruction given to an AI model. A well-written prompt usually often leads to a precise answer, correct formatting, higher accuracy, and faster and more useful results. However, if the prompt is vague, it results in generic answers, incorrect informations, which is often known as hallucination, wrong assumptions, and missing details. Because of this, new skill has emerged called prompt engineering. Prompt engineering is the practice of designing clear and structured instructions for AI systems, such as large language model or image generators, so that they can produce accurate, useful, and predictable results. Here is an example of a simple prompt that is asking a Gen AI tool to explain the use reducer hook on a React with simple example. This prompt works and AI will generate a response, but it can be improved by adding clarity and structure. For example, we can add additional information such as background of the audience, the length of the output, any other information we want Gen AI to add such as counterexamples and comparison with use state hook. In a nutshell, both of these prompts will work, but the second one gives AI a much more clearer instructions than the first one. The key difference is clarity and structure. This is where TCREI framework becomes very useful. TCREI is often remembered as the mnemonic Tiny Crabs Ride Enormous Iguanas. It is simply a memory aid that helps us remember the structure of a well-designed prompts. Each letter represents the steps in designing and improving prompts. T stands for tasks, which is what you want AI to do. C stands for context, the background information the AI needs. R stands for reference, the source material or examples. E stands for evaluate, to check whether the output is good or not. I stands for iterate, so if the output is not good, we need to improve the prompt and restart the process again. The TCREI framework helps to structure the prompts so that they are clear, complete, and iterative. It is commonly used when designing prompts systematically, especially for AI flows and applications, but it is also very useful for everyday prompting. Now, let us walk you through the framework with an example. Let us first define the goal for the prompt, which is the task. In this case, it is to understand the concept of used reducer hook in React. So the task would be explain the React used reducer hook. Next, provide some background information. This helps AI to tailor its explanation to the right audience. For example, audience is beginner React developer who already understood the concept of used state hooks. This tells AI the reader has some React knowledge, but the explanation should still be beginner friendly. Now, let us provide some explanation and reference materials related to the task. For example, we can ask it to reference the following code snippet. Reference helps anchor the AI to relevant and accurate information. After the AI generates a response, we need to review the output. We need to ask questions such as, is the explanation clear? Is the example correct? Or is the response suitable to the length that we need? If the output meets your expectation, then it is all good. If not, then you can still improve the prompt and try again. For example, we can update the prompt to provide a clear definition, a comparison with use state, a simple counter example, and a step-by-step explanation. We can also limit the answer to 250 words. This process improves the quality of the response. So why the TCREI framework is useful? The TCREI framework introduces a feedback loop. Prompt engineering becomes a process, not just a one-time instructions. The workflow looks like this: task, context, reference, generate, evaluate, and iterate. This approach is commonly used in AI application development, AI agent, prompt optimization, and RAG system. A simple analog would be, think of prompt like giving instruction to a junior employee. If you say write a report, the results will likely be unclear. But if you say write a two-page report explaining React hooks for beginner developers, include examples and tone of education, the results will be much better. This is also how AI works, the same way. The clearer your instructions are, the better the results will be.